I have another special guest in the radio with me right now, Rama. Everyone knows Rama, and he is, man, I bet you're cold. I saw you walking up. It's like, it looks really cold out there.
It's freezing cold out there, but not too bad.
15 degrees, this thing says.
Yes.
I don't know if that, well, that one says 2, so it's somewhere between 2 degrees and 15 degrees out there.
What got me really cold was to clean all the snow off my car.
Yeah.
It's like
there was 8 inches of snow
Yes.
buried up on my windshield this morning.
I was like, should I walk? Should I just run? Would that be less cold? And I was like, no, I should just clean the car.
Get your skis. Do you live far from here? Far enough to drive?
Yeah, I'd say 15 minutes walk.
Oh, okay.
It's not really that bad.
Except for when it's 2 degrees.
Exactly.
That's like a marathon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Rama is a friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine since you moved into town.
Yeah, I met you right after I moved to town.
Was that 3 years? 4 years ago?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
A little over 3 years ago.
And Rama has a place here on F Street, Rama's Bread, which the address is, it's 211 F Street, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, directly across from the Natural Grocers. And if you haven't been in there, I'm telling you, you know, when you go into some places, the energy, the feeling, it just feels good. It feels inviting. It feels comfortable. It feels warm. And you gotta go check it out. We're having a gathering on Friday night there. Mm-hmm. Weather permitting or not. More people will show up if there's bad weather, good weather or not.
It's gonna be inside, so
yeah,
warm inside.
So yeah, hey, Friday night we're having some people over to Rama's place. I have some art pieces hanging up in there, and we're gonna have a little bit of music from 5 till 7, and gathering of some fun people here in town. Mm-hmm. But Rama, I want to talk about you. Tell me, how'd you do this? Tell me your inspiration for Rama's Bread. How you got to Salida? How do these people do? Because I don't think they all know your story.
Yes, I mean the story starts really way back in the village I was born in. You know, the all self-sufficient village where there was not a single store, where everybody, like from food to clothes, everything they made themselves, and it's and the place is in Mesopotamia. It's the home of wheat, where people grow wheat and make bread. I was around my mom who made bread every week. Once a week, she would make a big batch that would last us for a whole week. And it was just watching her making the bread made me really familiar. But long time later, that was when I was a child, long time later, I found myself in the U.S. seeking asylum after a lot of political things. Yeah. For being a Kurdish in Turkey right now, it's not a fun time.
I don't think I'd like to expand on that, because I don't think a lot of us really realize how Kurdish people are treated in Turkey.
Yeah. So first, the Kurdish people are really the largest minority on earth that do not have their own self-governing, their own country. And their region, what they call Kurdistan, is divided by 4 pieces. So a lot of Kurdish people became minority in these 4 different countries. And these are Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria.
Okay.
So after the First World War, all these places, all these 4 countries started the assimilation politics to assimilate the Kurds, to really erase them from the region. And the way they do it, they bend the culture, they bend the language,
it's a full cultural genocide.
Exactly. And when you stand against it, like the only language my mom speaks, I got to be the first person who went to school, a Turkish school, so I learned Turkish. Mm-hmm. But all my older family, my parents, they do not speak any Turkish, but their only language that they speak is banned, so their existence is banned. Mm-hmm. And when you stand against it, when you say, why can't we live in this country as harmony? Why don't you recognize my language, my identity, and I recognize yours, and we all live together? But when you say that, the government or the authorities directly put the label of the criminal on you, or like you are trying to harm our country, you're trying to divide our country, where we're just trying to really bring it together. You know, so that's when I was in college. I was an activist, a political activist, activating for education in their mother tongue for Kurdish people, to learn in their own language, to learn what they want to learn. Because the whole time in school, they were assimilating us so much that I had no idea what the school was for, because they were all talking about these concepts that I had no idea where they came from. Instead, they could teach us about wheat. They could teach us about the animals we were raising. But it was not. It was just like really this imaginary world with a language that none of us understood. And really violence. And yeah, that's really, that's what's going on for a lot of... There was a peace process in 2013. That was a really good time. We thought things were getting better, but then... things got way worse. It's like everybody who was involved with the peace process was labeled as a terrorist in court. And they're all in jail and all in prison right now. But that's the sad part.
That is true. But it's you know, it's a story as old as humanity, it seems. We just continue to do this.
Yes.
Like, what the heck? What? I've never understood. I mean, you know, the American genocide that no one talks about. It's still going on, and it's happening every day. You never hear about it. We don't hear about what's going on in Turkey. I was taught very, very little about the Middle East. You know, what I know about the Middle East is like research I did I did myself, and I still don't understand.
Yes.
I still don't understand. It's so complex.
It's really complex. It's like I am from the region, and I barely understand what's going on. It's like I see what's going on, but I don't know why it's going on.
As we've exchanged conversation around that, I've kind of put my mind or my arms around it. It's very similar to how the first people of America are treated. You know, the reservations, and how a Native American, you know, we don't hear about the thousands and thousands and thousands of women and children that go missing off the reservations. We don't hear about this stuff. You know, I posted something about how something was happening on the reservation. This person with a very limited amount of understanding on this subject called me an idiot, because if that was really happening, it would be all over CNN and Fox News and all these. And I'm like, are you okay? Now who's the idiot here? Because when it comes to what happens to the mitigated populations, the news doesn't talk about that.
Yes.
Doesn't talk about that.
True. And yeah, I believe it's somehow intentional that nobody here heard about. You know, they heard about. You know, people have heard about Kurdish people. You know, the female fighters. That's what they all really know about. But they don't know what they're fighting for. Actually, they just think like it seems like they are just people dead with guns fighting, but what they're really fighting against is the authoritarianism. What they're fighting for women, for men, for all the Middle East to be free of oppression, to be free of the oppression of men. There is a big feminist movement also to free women first, and yet we believe, with Kurdish people, we believe if we free women first, then the whole society would be freed. Right. Then we free the earth. Right. And we have beautiful. We have three main pillars that we are fighting for. We want to fight for feminism. We want to fight for women to have their own rights, to be equal as men. We want to fight for ecology. We want to go back to old days where we were not harming the earth as much as we are doing today. You might say it's too late, but we believe there are radical changes that needs to be made in order for the earth to be sustainable, to be good for the next generations. And the third one is really the direct democracy. We don't believe in a centralized power. We want to have communities where communities make their own decisions,
Mm-hmm.
And then they send us to top, and top exists just to meet the bottom's needs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really, this goes all back to how they lived in old days. And this is what we're trying to do, really, to just, and really, we want everybody to be free of their gender expression, free of their language, their linguistic. They can speak any language they want. And these are like basic human rights. These are not some utopia,
My grandpa, I remember him telling me, because he came from the Cherokee reservation, I remember him telling me in the schools, because they had to go to these like Catholic schools. There were these boarding schools run by white people, English only, and he remembers getting beat and seeing kids getting beaten for speaking in Cherokee.
Well, that's my whole,
and that's
my whole childhood drama. Honestly, being beaten by these soldiers. They were called teachers in quote, but they were really soldiers coming to the village,
just beating your heritage out of you.
Exactly, and it's like they have put a school in the village, and the fence around the school is really like a high security prison with the wires. It's
around the school.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh!
And it's like you enter the school, and everybody in the village speaks Kurdish, but when you enter the fence, it is illegal to speak Kurdish.
Is that still how it is?
It's still how it is.
Oh
exactly. It's even worse right now. Right now in Turkey, there is a big hate towards Kurdish people that's coming from politicians from the top. It's like people playing Kurdish music in the street. Police stops them, arrest them. They're like, why are you singing in this language?
Oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
and it's like quarter of Turkey speaking. If you speak in any other language, you won't get in trouble. But only for Kurdish.
Is there other traditions, like the dance was taken away from Native Americans? I mean, there were certain dances you couldn't even do in America as a Native American until the 80s. Did they take cultural things like the dance and meals and things away?
Yes, one of the biggest celebrations of Kurdish people is in March 21st. That's when we celebrate the New Year. Mm-hmm. We call it Navroz, which means New Day. It's spring. That's when we celebrate the New Year, and we gather huge crowds around the fire. We dance, we sing. That's like big tradition, but last few years it's been banned. Like when people get together, they get arrested. They're like, you can do this sorts of stuff.
And are they blaming it on Corona or probably using it as a tool to keep people from gathering?
Yes, they use so many. They just literally say, "Oh, the top doesn't allow you to get together." They don't even make excuses.
So it's just because I said so, sort of.
Exactly. They're really making it directed. It's a hate. They're not going around it, saying, "Oh, it's Corona." They're like, we just hate you. Exactly.
Wow,
they're like literally saying this. Yeah, they're like, the reason I am applying for asylum here, only because when in Turkey, the police officers took my laptop because I was in the protests I was advocating, and the only reason they opened a case for me because I had Kurdish music in my laptop, and they said, "Why do you have this music in your laptop?" And it's just
so you can go to jail for having music in that laptop.
Of course, right now if I go to Turkey, I will get in jail, and only because I had Kurdish music in my laptop. I promise you.
It's terrifying.
I have not done anything that any other place would say it's a crime. Just only listening to music that you can now listen on Spotify.
Oh my God.
And that's how it is.
Well, as we wrap up this conversation, we should play some of your music.
Yeah.
Do you think I can find something out here?
Yes. Let's see. Which one should we play? Let's play one by Jivan Hajo.
How do I spell that? Givan?
It's C-I.
C-I.
V-A-N, and space. His last name is H-A-C-O.
Okay. So this is music that's illegal to play in other countries.
Yes. You can play the Yerevan. Oh, that's too long. Go up. There is one called Dilketmi. That one.
This one? Okay.
That's a really.
I'll cue it up to play as we wrap up. That's I mean, it's like early 1900s.
Yes, exactly.
Unbelievable to think that. I mean, and I'm so thankful that you are here. You know, but people don't know how. I mean, that had to be the hardest thing to. I mean, leaving your family and running from a government that's running your country and chasing away your culture. I mean, to be as peaceful as you are. I mean, things like this get my blood boiling, and if I were in your shoes, I'd be like.
So this is really what comes to this is what connects to the business, to making bread, to making food. It's really a way for me, a way of resilience, a way of saying, look, I exist, no matter how much you say that I don't exist. Look, I exist, and I make all these things.
Yeah,
you know, it's like I feed these people, I give food that people love, and I get recognition. And this is really what I'm trying to achieve, just get recognition, because my whole life it was just hide your identity, don't say who you are, you know, hide who you are. But now it's time to say, look, I exist, and I make all this, and I serve people, and I show people that that I'm not a, you know, I'm not a, in quote, I'm not a terrorist like the Turkish government says I am. Right. I'm just really a human being who tries to live his life, tries to live my life as peacefully as I can, and with other people, connecting with other people, sharing stories with other people.
Right.
And that's what it's all about.
Well, and you explained Rama's Bread to me as kind of a cultural gathering place where different cultures can come together in peace.
Yes. Brian said it in a really good way. I was trying to explain. He was like, so Rama's Bread is really like a way of living. I was like, yeah, exactly. It's just living in harmony, no matter what no matter who you are. There is the big sign, come as you are. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter, you know, what you believe. Nothing. It's just you as you, what matters. And come in, have tea, let's share stories, let's just all come together. Right. You know.
Well, hey, Slidey, you'll have to check out Rama's Bread. Again, it's 211 F Street, just directly across from it's called Natural Market?
Natural Grocers.
Natural Grocers. Right between the ice cream store and...
Pinion.
Yeah, Pinion Real Estate. And on Friday night, we're going to have a gathering there this Friday, here in 2 days.
And we have
his place.
tea and baklava at the gathering. Yep.
And, yeah, you're open 10 until 4?
Right now, I'm open Thursday through Saturday, 10-4, but that's going to change in 2 weeks. Then we're going to have Tuesday through Saturday schedule, because we have more staff.
Good. Well, hey, Salida, thank you very much for tuning in. Feel free to swing by over at Rama's Bread this Friday night. We're going to have some jams. I'm going to tell a couple stories of weirdness. And we're going to go from there. Thank you again for coming in, Rama.
Thank you for having me, Dustin. Good to see you also.
Yeah. Is this it? All right. This music is illegal in Turkey.
Dil ketme, jara peşi dil ketme. Dil ketme, jara peşi dil ketme. Guhari, Abdel-Almi Guhari. Guhari, Abdel-Almi Guhari. Dil damı, ben asgare dil damın. Dil damı, ben asgare dil damı. Sözamın, bu yaparcık canımın. Sözamın, bu yaparcık canımın. Maçık jwanle ben khwast, hayran bejna bilin. Maçık jwanle ben khwast, hayran bejna bilin. We can rangarang, dilen ya wakparang. We can rangarang, dilen ya wakparang. Dil ketme, jara peşi dil ketme. Dil ketme, jara peşi dil ketme. دركتمي جرى بيشي دركتمي جرى بيشي دركتمي واكسر خوشك بهش كتماريات شبورات واكسر